Hi, everyone. Brad here, Delta Awesome, helping leaders make things more awesome. And I was pushed on a pretty interesting question the other day. What are those obscure but necessary things leaders, particularly CEOs, need to know, learn, or do? Whether it's a specialty because of being a CEO is a specialty location or something that we just need leadership on. And the one that I thought of the most was noticing when the context of the decision making you're making has shifted. Now, for those of you note takers, the two books that I'm referencing here, one is called Deep Survival, and it's one of the best business books I've ever read, and it's not about business at all. And the other is a book named Upheaval, and that's by Jared Diamond. And that one's also not about business at all. But they both key on the same thing. When were those subtle, obscure, or obtuse changes that made it so everything in your decision making prowess altered or changed or shift? And you need to read those tea leaves and realize we need to approach this differently. One of the hardest things to do as a CEO because you're seeing things other people don't see. There's subtle cues, and you're asking everyone to change their behavior of success. Everyone else has says, wait, we've been doing this way for a long time. We are successful doing this. And you're coming and saying, yeah, but that truth is no longer our truth. Now let's use today as an example, and let's use one part that's key to the CEO's responsibilities, of which I call number three, a trustworthy and stable team. Trustworthy and stable team is the concept that falls on the CEO's plate. The methodology or framework I use is you need to make sure that you are at least having people do the best they can to recruit, train, deploy, and retain people, talent, culture. Okay, that's still true. The framework hasn't changed, but how you go about this is completely changed when you add two novel things to the mix that didn't exist 7, 5, 8, 15, 30 years ago. For that long, we've been applying the same playbook and then adding technology onto it. The playbook is changing. Here's two factors causing the playbook to change. This is where deep survival comes in. When multiple small factors come together and they change the entire context, but alone they wouldn't. That's the subtlety you're looking for here. Here's two pieces. I wanted to pick three, but I picked two today because it's easier. Number one, AI. Number two, the baby boomers. So let's start backwards. The baby boomers are more than two-thirds retired. The baby boomers have been the largest generation, and they have been in control of American and worldwide recruit, train, deploy, how we treat talent, how we find talent, what we do with talent for almost 50 years. They were incredibly successful at this in the context of their lifespans. Fantastic. That's completely changing. We skipped Generation X. You guys are losing out on leadership. We're going down to millennials. Millennials are now becoming CEOs more often than Gen X as the baby boomers retire. That's a complete difference and change because millennials like me adopt first a what are we trying to get done? And how do we have a trustworthy and stable team instead of how much labor units do we need to achieve to maximize profit? Very different methodologies. I'm not going to say one's better or worse, but I am going to say the market has adopted the shift. Not alone, you could probably in your head say, I can manage that, I can figure that out. Now we tack in a completely different shift, which is AI. AI, of course, is taking out the concept of what do white collar workers do? Which white collar workers? How many do I need? What is experience worth in an AI driven society? I'm not even talking about AI next. I'm talking about AI now, September of 2025. What AI can already do, it can replace in almost all white collar jobs between 30 and 40% of the work. Some 90%, some 20, sure, we can hedge. But that's a complete what we call state shift. Now, could we manage that? We could. But when you're trying to manage both of those, the baby boomers and the AIs at the same time, this is what the CEO's job is to do. This is the difficult work. Both things coming together change the context of the whole. How are we going to go about doing what our vision, mission, values, economic metrics, and team are trying to achieve with both of these state shifts not only occurring simultaneously, but feedback looping off of each other? And here's the other real part. They're happening fast, but the cues are subtle. Right now, where are we seeing the indications of this? The third thing I'm thinking about the most is what people are starting to call, or I really like to call, employment hugging. white collar workers who are normally the highest capacity people, and the highest capacity people normally as a firm we're trying to retain the most, but they also have the greatest ease of switching, so we got to give them reason to stay. Those people are choosing to hug their jobs right now for a variety of reasons. You could say it's geopolitics. You could say it's American politics. You could say it's finances or race. You can blame all kinds of things that you want, and go ahead and do that because it's a basket of goods that causes it. But when all of a sudden there's a locking of the employment world where people who can be mobile are choosing not to be, why are they making that rational choice individually times millions of people? What are we going to do about it if we need more employees to achieve our goal? And we don't need mediocre employees. We need exceptional employees. We don't need employees who want to be handed a playbook. We want employees who are using AI to create the new playbook. How do we achieve all those goals as the baby boomers are retiring and we're changing the way we look at employment, as well as AI tools are coming into place? This is difficult. This is the leader's job. And this takes an incredible amount of time and expertise and really the ability to see around corners. I don't envy my clients who I help do this with. It's a very difficult problem set. But going back to the start of this cue was people ask me, what are those obscure or difficult things that leaders need to do that we don't know about? That's the purpose of this video and the example therein. There are other examples as well. As always, thank you for your time.